무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다.
Hello, and welcome to today's special webinar, the SASE Game. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. You're welcome to submit questions at any time using the chat window on the right-hand side of your screen. We will follow up with you after the webinar if we don't get a chance to reply to your question live. We'll also make a recording of this webinar available to you within a couple of days. Now, let's get started with our 6 deadly games. Challenge number 1. Deploy firewall and block a website.
Okay, our first challenge is to deploy firewall and block a website. We don't have much time, so we should go ahead and get started. Thank goodness we're doing this with SASE, otherwise I would never finish in time. So let's go ahead and click on Assets. First we're going to create our custom category to block a specific website. We'll go ahead and click on Categories on the left, and we'll click New. I'm going to call this category Challenge 1. And we're going to go ahead and add a domain. For this we'll block cheese.com. It's a great nondescript website for us to block. Hopefully you're not offended if you love cheese. And we'll go ahead and click Apply. So you can see our Challenge 1 policy has been created with cheese.com as a member, and we'll go ahead and click Save. Next we have to go ahead and enable the firewall and create our policy to block cheese.com. So let's go ahead and click on Security. By default we're taken to the Internet Firewall page. Let's go ahead and enable this firewall, and then we'll click New and create another policy that allows us to block this website. So we'll call this Challenge 1 as well, and we'll make this the first rule in our set. So source we're going to leave as any. We want it blocked for everyone, and we're going to go ahead and select a category, custom category from this list. So custom category, we'll click on search and we'll type in Challenge 1. So as you can see, there's our custom policy. Service import will also leave to any, and then actions we're going to make sure that this is set to block. I'll also add event here so that we log this once it happens. And then we'll leave this full time. It's not something we want to limit to specific hours. So I'll go ahead and click Apply, and then we'll go ahead and click Save here on our policy. So let's give that a couple of seconds to save, and then we'll go ahead and test cheese.com and make sure it really is blocked. So now that we've waited a few seconds for our policy to be distributed to our global hubs, let's go ahead and open a new tab. We'll go ahead and type in cheese.com. And as you can see, cheese.com was blocked. We were able to enable firewall and block a website in just a couple of minutes. Thank goodness, because we were cutting it close on this challenge. So let's see what else the SASE game has in store for us.
Poll number 1. How complex is your network? You have 10 seconds to answer that.
무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다.
Challenge number 2. Retrieve information from event discovery.
Okay, we don't have a lot of time, so let's hop right into the next challenge. Hopefully I can make it out of this one as well. Looks like we have to go ahead and find some information related to an anti-malware block event in our event discovery page. Okay, so let's click on events. This is our event discovery window. It shows you information related to everything that was logged within your Cato deployment. Currently we're filtered on the last 2 days, but you can modify that if you like. You can select custom dates or pick from any of these predefined options. So we're going to switch this to the last 2 weeks. And you can see we're now up to 8,000 events. Now you can also export this to a CSV by clicking this Export Events button. And as you can see here, we have a variety of events related to just standard traffic, right? We have some things that pass through our anti-malware engine and were found clean and therefore allowed. This looks like outlook.office.com. But we really want to find specific to anti-malware things that were blocked. So let's start by changing this to filter based on our anti-malware subtype. So we're going to add that just by clicking it. And now we're down to 3,000 events that were specifically related to anti-malware. But we want to get to that one blocked event or several blocked events or however many there are. As we have 3,000 events, how are we going to get down there? So let's scroll down here and we can see we have our action option. And look at this, we have 3,479 matches for action, but only one of them is a block, the rest are allows. So let's go ahead and add block to our filter. And here we go, we're down to the one block event out of 8,000 events. We can see that a user tried to download Mimikatz tool, but it looks like it was infected and therefore found malicious by our anti-malware engine and blocked. And we were able to do this in just a few minutes with just a couple mouse clicks. We didn't have to export or go into any third-party tools. All of this information was right here for us, and it looks like we just made it just in time to beat this challenge. Hopefully the rest goes smoothly. Let's see what we have next.
Second poll. Where are you in your digital transformation journey? Hurry up. Challenge number 3. Block malware.
So on to the third challenge. Looks like for this one we have to block malware. So here in the Cato management application, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have already enabled, right? So it looks like our IPS policy is enabled with the default policies. So is our anti-malware and next generation anti-malware. So using these, we should be able to detect and block anything that's malicious, even if it's not something that we have a signature for. But for an easy way to block this, let's go ahead and open a new tab. Let's go to ycar.org, and we'll go ahead and click on Test Malware. So there's a couple options here, but I like this JavaScript crypto miner one. So let's click that. Oh, and it looks like it was blocked because malicious content was detected. So we were unable to access this automatically. We didn't have to configure a specific policy blocking this website or anything like that, and we were able to block it. Now let me show you another tool that we use here for testing. This is called Canister. So this is kind of an internally developed testing application that we use. Now it's does a couple of things here, right? It attempts to access, some sites that we should block, but it also attempts to download some known, vulnerabilities as well as hacking tools and other things like that. All in one shot, very easy and quickly. I'm going to go ahead and click go and run this test. And it looks like we were able to succeed here as well. So all of these things, are blocked, and just by connecting to the Cato service and using the default policies, we are able to provide security and protection for our users. So looks like we have some time to spare. Great job on that one.
Third poll. What would you implement first? Next challenge is a surprise. Challenge number 4. Assign user to zero trust network access.
Okay, 3 challenges down, 3 more for me to survive. It looks like for challenge 4, we are told to provide zero trust network access to a user. So let's go ahead and do that in our Cato management application. I'm going to click on security, and then I'm going to click on the WAN firewall. So the WAN firewall manages access between all users and sites defined within the service. We're going to go ahead and create a new policy. There aren't any existing. So we'll call this rule challenge 4. And it's going to be the first and only policy in a 2 direction. So for source, we're going to define one of our users. Only this user will be applicable to this policy. So we have demo user. Looks like he's been added successfully down here. For destination, we're going to leave any, but in the app category section, we are going to select FQDN, and we are going to define game.cato.000 for this policy. So we've added that successfully here. So this is a internally hosted site. It is not available on the internet. For the service/port, We can go ahead and leave any. If we wanted to, we could restrict that down to just port 80, but for this we'll just leave any. So for action, we're going to go ahead and specify allow, and then we're going to also track this in the log. No time constraints for this one. I'm going to go ahead and click apply. So as you can see, everything looks good. We have our challenge 4 rule. Demo user is allowed to access any destination, but he's allowed to access this URL game.cato.000 on any port or service. So let's click save on that. So now that we've saved that, it'll take a few seconds to apply here as it propagates across our global network of POPs. But what you'll see here is that we only have one policy defined, and it's an allow policy. So by default, anything that is not explicitly allowed here will be denied. So our demo user can access, game.cato.000, but not other resources across the WAN. So it's been a few seconds. Let's go ahead and see if this will open up for us. So let's open a new tab. We'll go to game.cato.000. Hit enter. So it loads successfully. It looks like we have done well in this challenge. Let's go ahead and try another URL just to make sure that we don't have open access to everything, right? So let's try marbles.cato.000. And that one was blocked because it is not explicitly allowed within the policy. So looks like we've finished challenge number 4. Just a little bit of time to spare, so hopefully we do well on the last 2 challenges and I can make it out of this thing.
4th poll. Would you be interested in the no-obligation estimate of your networking and security cost reduction using Cato? Choose wisely. Challenge number 5. Enable TLS inspection.
Okay, challenge number 5. We're doing pretty good. We're almost through this thing. Hopefully I'll make it out of here with a nice prize at the end. But it looks like we have to enable TLS inspection. So I'm very lucky that we're using the Cato SASE Cloud for this, because if I had to size, order, and deploy hardware, we would be here for months. So let's go ahead and do this right now. So in Cato's management application, we can click on security at the top. On the left side is TLS inspection. So as you can see, it's currently disabled. I'll go ahead and turn this on. And by default, we have a rule here that bypasses all traffic from inspection. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new rule, and we're going to call this inspect. We're going to leave this as the second rule, and then we'll leave the source as any and what as any, and we'll switch the action to inspect. I'll go ahead and click apply here, and this has been added to our list right underneath our default bypass. So the way rules are applied, they're applied in order. So if we left it like this, everything would be bypassed from inspection and we would never hit our inspect rule. But let's click on default bypass and we can go ahead and edit this. Since I'm changing the rule, it's no longer the default, I'll just call it bypass. And then we can still leave source as any. You can use this if you want to exclude specific users or hosts from inspection altogether. But what we're going to do here is follow the best practice of excluding certain categories. So we're going to select application category here. We're going to add finance. And then we are going to add health as well. So health and medicine. So these are common categories for excluding from inspection. You can also take the opposite approach and define a policy only to inspect certain traffic. But I'd rather inspect everything except for these things that I want to bypass. So for action, we can leave this as bypass. We'll click apply here. And everything looks good, right? We're going to bypass finance, health, and medicine from inspection, but we're going to inspect all other traffic. So let's click save here. All right, and that is saved successfully. We've enabled TLS inspection. Now the next step would be to ensure that our client machines have the Cato certificate. This machine already has that, so luckily we saved a little bit of time there. But on Windows machines, the Cato client can deploy the certificate automatically. For other operating systems, it's not allowed by the OS, so you might have to use a MDM or other mechanism for deploying the certificate. Once again, it takes a couple seconds for our policy to take effect. We'll give it a few and we'll take a look and see that it's working. Okay, so now it's been a few seconds. Let's go ahead and open a new tab. And we will go to maybe my favorite website, Amazon.com. So Amazon.com loads as expected. We can go ahead and click up here and take a look at our certificate. So as you can see, we don't have any certificate trust issues, but we are using the Cato Network certificate as it acts as the man in the middle in order to perform TLS inspection. So it looks like with just a little bit to spare, we've done it again, and we've made it through challenge number 5.
Last poll. Would you like a one-on-one demo of Cato SASE Cloud? Final challenge. Egress traffic from specific location and dedicated IP address.
Okay, I've got my eyes on that prize. Looks like we're down to our last challenge. We're going to route our traffic across the Cato private backbone and egress from our own private dedicated IP address. So let's hop in and do this, man. This is the Cato Management Console again. We'll go ahead and click on Network. So this is going to be a network rule, right? Cato has a global backbone connecting all of our POPs, so it's really just bringing global presence to your network and allowing you to control your traffic as you like. So this is the predefined rule set, but let's go ahead and add a new one. We're going to put this number 1, and we're going to call this challenge 6. Can't believe we've made it this far. This is a internet rule. So for source, we'll leave this as any. So we want anything going to this specific destination to travel how we specify and egress from our dedicated IP address. So for app/category, I'm going to go ahead and change this to a domain, and it's going to be whatismyipaddress.com. So we're going to add that. So that's listed there. And then for configuration, we're going to leave our primary transport as Cato, but we're going to change this route method /nat to nat, and we're going to nat from our Dublin IP address. So I'm here in Houston, but as you can see, we have this 209.206.12.50 IP address specifically dedicated to us. It's not shared with any other customers or anyone, and we're going to click apply. So this rule, challenge 6, has been added to the very top of our list, as you can see. We're going to click save. It's asking for, typically a second egress IP address for high availability is recommended, but in this case, we're going to leave this off. So we've saved that. It's going to propagate across our SASE cloud, but let's double check our rule here. So, source from any for whatismyipaddress.com. out to the internet. We didn't really specify, any bandwidth priority or anything like that, but we're going to NAT out from our dedicated private IP address. So just like all our other policies, it's going to take a couple of seconds for it to take effect. So let's go ahead and wait, but we'll go ahead and try that here in a second. So now that we've waited, I'm going to go ahead and open up a new tab. We'll go to whatismyipaddress.com. Now it may take a couple seconds to load. Keep in mind it's traveling all the way to Dublin. So as you can see, we've egressed out of Dublin, and we have our dedicated IP of 209.206.12.50. And it was super easy. It took us a few seconds, but it really gives you the opportunity to control how your traffic is flowed and really deliver the best performance to your users as you egress traffic close to its destination.
Congratulations, you've won the grand prize. Now, let's deep dive into how Cato SASE enabled Evan to beat the clock.
So let's talk a little bit about what SASE is. Legacy network security involved a variety of point products and was very complex and difficult to manage. Gartner says that the solution to this is convergence, specifically the convergence of SD-WAN and network security into a single solution that they call the Secure Access Service Edge, or SASE. SASE is a new architecture that is built to address today's and tomorrow's requirements for optimal and secure application access, and to do it for all users all the time at any location. Now, what capabilities does SASE converge? All the stuff that we used to buy as point solutions: SD-WAN, secure web gateway, next generation firewalls, CASB, and VPN. To deliver these capabilities to everywhere and everyone, SASE must be a global cloud service that supports all enterprise edges, branches, users, and clouds. Now, Cato is the world's first true SASE platform. Proven across hundreds of customers, Cato Cloud is a SASE solution that you can deploy today, converging all of these point solutions into a single product. Now, how does it work at a high level? First, Cato connects all branches, users, applications, and clouds into a cloud-native network. All traffic is optimized end-to-end between users and applications everywhere in the world. Next, Cato protects all traffic inside its cloud service against threats and attacks with a full security stack. Enterprise-grade protection is applied to all traffic across data centers and branches and down to a single user on a mobile device. Finally, customers have flexible management options. You can manage all network and security policies and access full real-time analytics from a single self-service console. Or you can use co-managed or fully managed services from Cato and its partners. Simple. Beyond convergence, you really need a global footprint of POPs in order to deliver a converged network and security capabilities everywhere. Cato has deployed over 65 POPs globally and is adding several POPs every quarter. The Cato Cloud covers every major business location, including the Americas, Europe, the Middle East, APAC, and China. And I believe that number today is actually more like 70 plus. So let's take a closer look at the Cato Cloud. At the core, we built a global private backbone of POPs running our converged software stack. These POPs are interconnected with redundant Tier 1 providers that provide consistent and predictable long-haul latency, jitter, and packet loss. The POP software selects the best route across providers for maximum uptime and best end-to-end performance. The design offers an immediate improvement in network quality over the unpredictable public internet and a significant cost reduction over MPLS. Cato processes every packet through multiple engines. For network processing, Cato calculates the best routes globally for every packet over the best performing provider. This also creates high resiliency in case of a provider degradation or outage. Cato accelerates WAN traffic by maximizing bandwidth for activities such as file downloads and voice calls. And it optimizes cloud access by routing application-specific traffic to the POP closest to the cloud destination. Cato then inspects packets for security. All traffic, including encrypted traffic, is inspected by multiple security engines. These include next-generation firewall with application awareness, secure web gateway with URL filtering, and advanced threat protection with next-generation anti-malware and IPS. Security policies apply to all resources, including physical locations, cloud resources, and mobile users. Customers can connect all edges to the cloud network using secure tunnels. Physical locations connect via Cato Socket SD-WAN devices. The Cato Socket manages multiple last-mile connections in active-active mode. It moves traffic to the best path on underlying link behavior. The socket also applies quality of service prioritization based on application and user awareness. And it protects critical apps like voice against packet loss. Cato provides a broad set of policies out of the box that optimize traffic for the most common requirements with the ability to configure highly granular policies for specific needs. Cato sockets also support site-to-site MPLS and internet connections for regional use cases and for bandwidth-intensive applications with low security exposure like backup. Customers that don't care for edge SD-WAN capabilities can establish IPsec tunnels from existing routers or firewalls to the nearest POP and get the network and security benefits or the backbone with a zero on-site footprint. Combining Cato's edge capabilities for last mile optimization with Cato's backbone middle mile optimizations allows customers to augment or replace MPLS and deliver optimal service to all locations globally. Beyond physical locations, Cato connects cloud resources and remote users to the network. A remote user can use the Cato SDP client or a browser to securely connect to any WAN or cloud application from laptops, tablets, and smartphones. The users dynamically connect to the nearest POP as they move from place to place. Traffic is then optimized and secure over the backbone to the destination. Cloud data centers are connected by establishing an IPsec tunnel from the Cato cloud or by using a Cato virtual socket. This makes the cloud data center an integral part of the network, and its traffic benefits from all network optimization and security controls. For public cloud applications, no integration is required. Application-specific traffic from any edge is automatically detected. Traffic can be sent based on a network rule to the POP closest to the cloud instance serving the business. Finally, Cato offers full visibility and control via a flexible management model. A self-service console is available for customers to configure all policies and access detailed analytics and events. Cato and its partners can deliver a fully managed service for customers who want it. The Cato Cloud is a future-proof network for the digital business. As needed, Cato can be gradually deployed across use cases while coexisting with your network and security infrastructure. On top of the Cato Cloud platform, we offer customers managed services, either directly or through our partners. Intelligent Last Mile Management provides 24/7 monitoring of last mile ISPs. We will detect link degradation or failures and work with the ISP until the issue is resolved. If needed, we can offer last mile provisioning through an ISP aggregator as well. Our MDR service provides ongoing monitoring of your network for compromised endpoints. We will notify you daily and guide you on how to remediate the malware infection. With hands-free management, Cato helps customers configure their network and security policies without the need to operate our self-service console. Just submit a ticket and our experts will make the changes for you. Site deployment is a great way to understand how to set up our zero-touch SD-WAN device. We will guide you remotely in the first few instances, and you can take it from there. Lastly, our designated support engineer service gives you a single point of contact for all of your support needs. These managed services are a la carte. You can use them or not. It's really up to you. And unlike telcos and legacy service providers, you still maintain full control and full self-service access to your own network. So, WAN transformation is a bit of a journey, right? Here's how it could look like for you, depending on which route you choose. You start with SD-WAN in order to take advantage of more bandwidth at a lower cost. You then add in a global backbone for your global sites. You deploy branch or cloud security for their secure direct-to-internet access. Use cloud acceleration to enable cloud migration. Then you get mobile VPN or SDP to support mobile users. And you probably will never get unified management of all these capabilities if you did this a la carte way. But you can also just flip a switch, right? A SASE platform converges all of these capabilities that you need today and tomorrow. By contrast, a non-SASE approach forces you to find, evaluate, buy, integrate, and manage multiple products to cover each requirement. Think how much time you will save by not doing all this work and just flipping a switch when you are ready. Okay, so I completed the challenges. I did pretty good, I think. I mean, I finished everything on time. So I'm going to collect my reward and hopefully retire. But in all seriousness, let's go ahead and go to the chat and see. It looks like there's some questions in there. So let's start with the first one. So it says, I love what you did here, but real life isn't a game, and replacing everything with SASE can be very risky. How would you manage that risk? Okay, well, this is a great question, but I think one of the key things to think about with SASE is that it really gives you a level of flexibility that you don't get with traditional hardware deployments. So you can leverage your existing investments and just augment where it makes sense to use SASE, right? You can easily leverage current appliances to stand up IPsec tunnels to strengthen your security posture at locations. If you don't have sufficient coverage for your mobile users, you can bring on SASE just for that, and you can kind of add to your deployment as you go, right? So SASE is flexible and it'll grow with you as you implement. So it really gives you the ability to gradually migrate to SASE instead of an all or none approach like you might be used to with appliances. So the next one says, you showed several security capabilities. What is the performance impact of using all of them at once on your edge appliance? Well, that's also a great question. So, when you say edge appliance, our device is called a socket for a reason, right? It's really a connection device to easily connect your locations into our SASE cloud. So all of the heavy lifting is done in the cloud, right? So there is, zero performance impact to leveraging all of the services at once, right? So you don't have to worry about, additional performance implications as you turn on services. Everything happens in the cloud at scale, so there really is no performance impact, especially not with regards to the appliance when you enable all the security capabilities. So next we have, in order to secure remote access, do I need to backhaul my remote users to one of my large offices and from there to your cloud? So that's also a good question. The answer is no. Our cloud is everywhere. We're building global presence. We have 70 plus points of presence currently, and we're constantly adding in locations that make sense for your users. So what that means is that your users, no matter where they are, if they're connecting through your office, that's fine. If they are mobile, they'll connect to their nearest point of presence. There's no backhauling, right? The security is brought to the user, and they'll enjoy the performance benefits of that while still being secure. So number 4 says, I looked you up on LinkedIn before this webinar and saw that you came to Cato after Palo Alto and Zscaler. Can you share your personal view on each company? Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the SASE space for a little while now. I've worked with a variety of different architectures over the years. I have to say that all three great companies. I enjoyed working at all of them. I really do enjoy the small startup feel of Cato. But fundamentally, what I saw kind of coming into all three places is significant decisions were made at the beginning of this SASE journey for the vendor, right? And they picked certain architectures for certain reasons. Now, I think that if you consider, all of that, I really do think that Cato is best positioned to really deliver the SASE story and value to customers. The way that we built our POPs as well as our global private backbone, it's really, fundamentally better performing and more secure and less, integrated, right? So like instead of integrating, third-party products or acquired companies, we've really done a great job of building everything ourselves, and that allows us to control, the aspects of the experience for customers. So I think, all three companies are doing great things. I made a decision to be at Cato for a reason. So, hopefully into the future, we'll show you how great Cato is. So I think we have time for one more question here. So let's take this last one. It says, how is Cato's SD-WAN different from other vendors? Oh, that's a fair point, right? You want to know about Cato's SD-WAN. So, I think if we take a step back, right, there's a lot of SD-WAN vendors out there, but an SD-WAN vendor is not necessarily a SASE vendor, right? You need, the converged networking and security. So, Cato has SD-WAN as a feature, not as our only product. So we have, a native SASE platform that features SD-WAN as a part of it. And in addition to that, it's not a manual integration. You don't have to kind of duct tape or service chain things together. You don't have to rely on, plugins in order to provide zero-touch provisioning. It's really a built-in part of our SASE service. But in addition to that, in addition to just like the SD-WAN at your edge location, we also have a global private backbone and built-in WAN optimization. So we're really delivering high performance for your users and applications and all of that all the time with security. So SD-WAN is just a method to part of that. So I really think that the complete SASE vision, as well as the focus on performance globally, is what sets us apart from other SD-WAN vendors. So thank you again for attending this webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything that you want to talk to Cato about, please reach out to us. But until then, see you next time.